Vince, thank you for joining our conversation today. You're one of the most highly suggested and in demand topics of discussion that we have. I think today's topic will be about how to be a top producer in this terrible market that we have now. I think earlier in October, they said the stats for October 2022 was record low listings since 2010. I think listings have dropped by 12% since last year. Nothing's for sale right now. So my main question for you is, how did you sell 4 properties yesterday? And this is end of November we're talking about now.
Yeah, this is the end of November. I think the first and the best advice I have for new realtors coming on into the industry, the Toronto real estate market, is first educate yourself about the market. Make sure that you have enough information to present it to your clients. Before you want to make that first commission check, I always think be prepared for going into that listing appointment. Be prepared with all your notes. Be prepared with all your marketing materials. Show up with confidence. Show up and educate yourself about the market. Go on Google, look at the real estate news, inform yourself with the market, and invest in the market yourself. Because once you're able to do that, you're able to know what the market and know where it's going. It is a difficult market to work in because a lot of sellers want a certain expectation on price. As we all know, in January to March, the market was really, really strong. And then we hit the market now, which is, as rates rise, is a lot harder for people to afford. But we have to explain it to sellers and let them understand that the market has shifted. And we do try to work with every deal. Obviously, we have to be reasonable with our pricing. And we give them the best and most honest advice as to what I would do if I owned the property. And I've always treated that with every deal that I do. If I own this today, what am I going to do with my client? And I keep myself informed with the market. My fiance and I, we are investors in the market, and we're building our first home, and we're hoping to start a family in the city. So we understand the challenges that people might have, and with inflation, and we are mathematical people, so it's a math question, but it's also an emotional question. So once you get into the mindset of, if I was in your shoes, what am I going to do? Because you're really advocating for the seller or the buyer at the time, you'll be a much better realtor. And it's also, the second thing is hard work, right? I have a schedule in the morning, wake up, go to the gym.
So that's a question that someone asked. Sorry to interrupt you, but what is your daily schedule like? Because I know you must have a routine, because I know you come to the office, you see clients, and also, what's a typical day?
Typical day, alarm gets off at 6 o'clock in the morning. Then I take my dog out. Goes out, pet him, do my thing. Go to the gym by 6:30, start my workout at 7. I do use a few minutes to meditate and think about my day and what I'm going to do first. And then I start checking emails once I get home at 8:30 in the morning, and my day starts then. So you line up all your own appointments. You have to have a schedule. You have to be informed with the market. What are the new listings that are coming out? What has a price change on the listing? Look at your own marketing. Do follow-up calls. You make your own schedule as a realtor. No one's going to tell you what to do. But you have to treat this as a full-time job if you want to do well. And that's what I always have taken with me. The good thing is that I don't really have a major financial engagement. I do have a pretty good partner that doesn't make me work paycheck to paycheck, so I could give very unbiased advice, but I do educate myself on the market, right? So about 12 o'clock, I take a little bit of a lunch break, and then I go back right into it. Some days you'll work until 10 o'clock at night. Like yesterday with the 4 deals, I was in the office until 11 o'clock at night. And you take the deals as they come, you work on deals as they come, you present those offers as quickly as possible to your clients. And that's part of the job, right? Because if they were selling this themselves today, and if they were a realtor, they would get to the deals right away. So you would do the exact same thing, and there's not much of a break. My day usually ends at about, if it is a slow day, it ends at about 8 p.m. at night. And that's when we, slow down and talk about our days and have our dinner. But if it is a day like yesterday was a Sunday, you're in the office until 11 o'clock at night. And I would say that it's persistency, right? It's like, when the market is slow, what are you doing to promote yourself? What are you doing to educate for yourself? What can you bring to your client? Because that's what people are looking for, right? They're not looking for the pretty agent driving around in a Ferrari. They don't care. They care about their property. And if you care about them, you are going to be a good agent. And that's what I've always took with me.
So you got 4 deals yesterday. like firmed up? Like, were you shocked by that based on the market? Like, are you shocked a little bit?
I was shocked, but because of how the market is right now and how difficult it is to do deals, I prepare my clients in the very beginning, like, okay, we've got to price this according to the market, right? If it's not priced correctly, I just wouldn't take the listing now, to be honest, because I don't think it's going to sell. So I believe that the product's going to sell, and I believe that it's an aggressive enough price to bring in buyers to the door. And then you work with all the other agents, because our job, in order to make a sale, as the manager, he knows that is to close deals. If we don't have a good agreement if the seller isn't happy with the price and the buyer isn't happy with the price, you're not making a deal today. So my job is to bring them together, but we almost know before we went into that listing appointment, is this person going to be reasonable with pricing? And it works in a different market, right? Like January to March, we were basically begging for listings because there was a shortage of listings. So you're basically, as a buyer's agent, you're going into 40, 50 appointments with clients, and you might or might not make a sale, and that's just part of the business. And if you could accept that and not give up, that makes you a good agent.
Yeah. So I mean, I think one thing is, like, a lot of agents that we know, like new ones or maybe even experienced ones, will go into see a seller, and the seller will say any price that they'll want to sell it for, the agent will be, okay, I'll just sign it for that. So how do you do it? Like, I hear you talk to clients before and says, like, I'm not going to take it if it's 1.5. I'll only sign it at 1.48. Like, how do you do that and still sign the listing?
Well, I basically bring out all the stats to them and go like, okay, this was a past sale, but look at the interest rates now. That has been the talk of the town, right? Like, and we all know in December that there is going to be another rate hike. So you ask them, like, okay, the amount of buyers have definitely slimmed down, and it's all current to the market, right? Like, if there was 20, 30 buyers in the market today, for sure we could list it up for a reasonable price based on the market increase. But if that's not the case, then we just have to price it reasonably. But I do bring in a lot of data and a lot of marketing materials before I go into that appointment. I prepare myself before I go in, so they're like, this girl's confident, she knows what she's talking about, she's invested in the market. And we do have our own properties, and we see the prices, because the values obviously affect anyone right now, right? Like, even if you don't have a mortgage, it'll still affect you. So I think that they do see that I live in the downtown core, I know the downtown core, I could invest in it myself and bring them the data. And there are other successful stories, other people that have sold with me that are happy and that have seen that I was a responsive agent. That was like, as long as you make the seller know that you care about them, that's what they want to know, right? Like, because if you're just saying that, yeah, this is my commission, I could lower it for you, they don't, I would rather pay the set amount of commission, right? And have someone that gets more in a price and someone that's professional than someone that doesn't know what they're doing. Because what good is that to me, right? They see that, they see the effort that I put in. And even like my fiance's aunt, she was coming in from Ottawa yesterday, and she looked at my marketing material. She's like, you do that? And I go, yeah, that's what I do for a living in the family setting. And then she goes like, the realtors in Ottawa don't do that. And I go like, it's the marketing, it's a brochure, it's the whole delivery of the product that makes the seller want to list with you, right?
And I think the main thing too is you price it properly. You're confident to tell them that, because if you take their price, sometimes sellers all think their houses are worth, $1 million times more than $1 million more than their neighbor. But you tell them properly, this is how you sell it at a good price, at a fair market value, and especially in this market, like.
Because otherwise it's just going to sit on the market, right? And it might not be the case in a few months from now, because in Toronto it's a shifting market, but there is obviously a low demand of supply, and affordability is always an issue in the city, right? But I mean, once you know the core, and once you know one street, like from King to Queen, would be a different streetscape, right? So once you know who are the buyers there and you could price it accordingly, I think that is it's a main thing for people, right? And it's like they're calling you because they obviously want to sell. They're not calling an agent just to kind of spend their time on a Sunday and to hang out with you, right? They want to sell a product. You have the expertise to sell it, and you have shown them that you have worked in this market for over a decade and you could help them with it, right? So that's what they're looking for. They're looking for quick sale, good price, good agent, smooth transaction. Can you provide them with that? And time and time again, like, I've got to say that I'm confident to say I am able to do that and give my most honest advice on the market. So that's what they're looking for, and I think that's what I always stand by in all my appointments.
I guess one last question, because I hear your phone ringing off the hook now, is how do you get all these clients and leads? Because a lot of people are working downtown. I think downtown is saturated with agents. but you're able to always have in your portfolio at least 4 or 5 signed listings. If not, then there's gonna be 5 or 6 that are ready to be signed in the next couple of weeks. Like, how do you maintain?
Truthfully, now in this market, a lot of them having referrals from past clients that were like, "Oh, I used Wins to sell my house. Like, she's a good agent. Use her. She's very responsive. She's very professional." So now it has all been a lot of referrals. But of course, people have found me on Google. People have found me online. There's people that were like, "Oh, I saw you on the Toronto Star giving a commentary on an article. So I see that you're professional. Can you give me some advice?" And truthfully, Isaac, it doesn't always lead to a deal. And I'm absolutely fine with that. Call me for my advice because I don't get listened to at home anyways. No one listens to me at home anyways. So I'm happy to chat with people. And I think that's what's the most important. It obviously all started with the initial appointment of meeting face to face. And then 1 turns into 2 and 2 turns into 3. And then they tell their friends about it. But I've got to say, I kept myself informed with the market. And a lot of them have been referrals from the past because like they see that, okay, this agent has like good reviews from other people, so how can she help me, and is she a reasonable person, is she friendly, is she good to work with? Like showing up and showing like, you know, expensive clothes and nice cars doesn't do anything for my clients personally. A lot of my clients right now are people that are downsizing. It's their parents that are moving. So if you see that and if you're able to help them with that and understand them, that would be a better working relationship. Like even yesterday when I was selling the house on Granby, the brother-in-law.
Which one is this? The 3rd or the 4th deal?
There was 8 offers on the property yesterday, and this was the 4th deal that I've done. And we were sitting here at 7 o'clock at night all the way to 11 o'clock, and he was like, "Oh, my son is moving back from San Francisco, so when he comes next year, you're definitely going to be our agent. You're going to be our family agent." And I was like, you know what? I'm very like, I'm proud and I'm happy, and at that moment I actually feel like I've accomplished something in their life because she was able to move on with her life being 80 years old and move on from the house, and we're able to find her something else. But you become family with these people. You're like, oh, and then my mom's last name is Lee, and the way we could connect with each other. It's basically building that connection, and I think I am very good at that, and it's just like my natural instinct. Even, you know, with friends, like it's very easy for me to make friends, that becomes like, I wouldn't do business with people that I wouldn't have dinner with. And that's one of my philosophy as well. If I can't talk to them on the phone for over an hour, then I probably would not do business with them.
They don't like you, they won't do business with you.
Yeah, exactly.
I guess the main thing to take away out of like what you said there is like just to be honest with your clients.
Yeah.
I think a lot of agents out there
and responsive, I think.
I mean, that has to be done because, you know, everyone has a phone now.
Yeah.
Everyone, like some people have 2 phones, computer everywhere. There's no excuse not to be responsible. I think the main thing that I think makes you very successful is you're very honest with your sellers. You'll say, no, this is too high. I'm only going to list at this or call someone else. Like in order to say that, I think it brings a level of respect from that seller because they're not like, oh, this agent just wants to sign and try to get me price reduction.
But I also don't pressure them as well.
Of course. I mean, you give them the stats and you say
it
it confidently. And I think you're willing to say, if it's too high, I'm not going to take it because I won't be able to give you that service, and I don't want to give you I don't want it to sit on there for like some of the condos.
Hears me say that a lot.
Yeah, some of the condos in this neighborhood are on the market for 110 days, 120 days, and obviously those are priced way too high. Right. And then that's when sellers are like, oh my God, the agent can't do it. So it's better to be upfront with them in the first place.
And one thing that I do want to add, like as an agent, it's not, you know, a lot of people think like, oh, agents make a lot of money. It's free money. You still have to go to the property. An average property that I list, I go into about 6-7 times. Like one thing that people don't see is that I do scrub floors, I do clean the windows, like I do make it to par. And if the cleaner, I do send in a cleaner, and if the cleaner doesn't do a good job, I go in and do it because, you know, kind of like the manager at Living said, you're jack of all trades. When it's not up to your standard, if I wouldn't live in it, why would I sell it to that part, right? Like there has to be something that, you know, you have to care about what you're listing, and it has to be a product that you truly believe in, because that's when people do believe in you, right? And that's what I think. So
absolutely. So not to take too much of your time, because I know you're a busy top producer at our office, but where do you think the market's going to go in the next year? Everyone thinks it's going to die. Some people are really worried. Like, do you think it's like, what do you see out there? Like,
well, personally, I'm not selling anything for the next 1 to 2 years. Personally, I do think that with the demand of real estate, with immigration coming in, that the market is going to be hot and rentals are going to go up. And I think that the market is going to stay as strong as it is now. No one has a crystal ball to the market, but as trades are being harder and harder to hire, and as it's harder and harder to build, prices are going to eventually come up, but it's a long-term hold, and I couldn't tell you now, or like right now I believe that there is a shortage of inventory, but it's definitely hard for people to afford. So it'll be a gap between renters and buyers, but the first-time home buyers are not going to stop coming in. So if you're looking to buy in the market as a first-time home buyer, you better get into it now, because there are going to be rate hikes, and it's going to be tougher and tougher to get in. But where it's going to turn, I would say that it's going to be an upwards market, in my opinion. I don't think the sky's going to be falling, it's going to crash. Everyone's got to live somewhere, and that's what I've always said. And people have a need for real estate, and especially new immigrants, they have to find new housing. So at the very entry level of the market, I think that there is going to be a little bit of an increase. And then at the more luxury market, it's going to take a little bit longer to sell, but people are still going to look for that. Because of the one bedroom, people are still going to be having families, people are going to still be having kids, people will need bigger properties, and they're going to move up the property ladder. And that's why I see, and the downtown core is always the one where people comes in to start their life, right, as a new immigrant, because employment's here and a lot of jobs are in the downtown core. So that's what I see the bring back is going to be to the downtown core, and as rents go up, the property prices are going to go up.
Okay, so you're pretty confident the market's going to be, fairly strong in different areas in Toronto now.
Yeah, that's what I believe.
Okay.
So thank you for having me.
No, thank you, Vince. I know you, like I said, like everyone's been asking like when you were going to be on the videos, but you've been so busy in the last couple of weeks.
I'm nobody.
But what we'll do is we'll put her info in the description below. If you guys have any more questions, feel free to email her. She's very honest with her opinions. And her advice, so please subscribe, and we'll.
And thank you for taking the time to watch Isaac's video.
Thanks, guys.